Come on, let's go.
Hurry up.
I was grabbing a beer.
Welcome to PorchTlk Podcast, where 20-somethings, soon to be 30-somethings, now that I think about it, figure out their lives, help you figure out yours along the way. I'm Eric.
Ezra, Brockwood Elementary class of 06, valedictorian. God, dog, that's rough.
It is. We were off last week. I had birthday stuff. NCAA came out also, or I guess College Football 25 for being real. It was just a busy week. There's a lot going on. So we took a week off, but I am now 29. Next year I'm 30. It's really downhill from here. I don't think much happened last week. I mean, I guess Joe Biden dropped out of the election, and then Kamala's basically taking the nomination. But is that really a big deal? I don't know what.
It was probably the biggest news outside of college football. Big deal, probably not. I think the only newsworthiness is they were pandering for Biden to step down. So the fact that somebody finally did get in his ear and he stepped down, that's probably the best thing the Democrats have done in the last 8 years.
Yeah.
It's a shame because I don't think that she'll win. I think she'll get smoked. I think versus Trump, a woman president and a minority woman president at that is going to have a tough sell just versus those Republicans. And then I think the old school white Democrats still might not fuck with that. It might turn Republican for this one alone. Plus, to kind of spring this on people 3 months out. My problem with this is it puts Kamala in a terrible place because what do you do from this? You're not gonna be able to run again. They're not gonna back you for a second run. So you were vice president, you ran for president. If you lose, what exactly is your next step? I think if I was her, I would have had to politely. I don't even know if it would have been respectfully. I would have had to decline because it's a lose-lose situation. You're giving her 3 months to campaign for. This is the face of the Democratic Party. When they knew the status of Joe Biden a year ago, 2 years ago, fuck it, 3 years ago, we knew this nigga was not going to be ready for 2024. So why the fuck we put him on a poll, on a ballot? We push him, we push him, we push him. He does exactly what we thought he would do: choke up in interviews, choke up in debates, and then 3 months out, 4 months out, we want to replace him. They did her no justice. I think she was the one who was done the dirtiest with this deal. And if she doesn't win, I think there's gonna have to be somebody who answers to why they put her in this lose-lose of a situation. Because we could have lost with Biden.
Yeah. I mean, I think the bigger issue was I don't think Biden wanted to once he became president, that was his lifelong political goal. He was like, damn, this shit's kind of nice. I don't want to really give this up. So then it was just kind of we're gonna keep this shit inner circle so no one knows how dementia filled I am or whatever he's got going on. And then he was like, I'm gonna interview, let's debate Trump. And then everybody was like, oh my god, this guy is we got to do something.
Which again, there's no problem with getting old. If we're blessed, we're all gonna get there. But we've got to, in a non-asshole way, stay in our lanes. In that condition, you should not be up debating for the president of the free world.
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think honestly, Biden needs to take some more responsibility for where the Democratic Party is put because they are behind the eight ball. I mean, she's taking over his campaign stuff, so at least she has
Yeah.
that established. Um, I mean, I think it's a lose lose, but I think it's also a low risk, high reward for her because it's if she didn't take the nomination here, she was never going to get another chance at it because they already had people in the wings,
Yeah.
the governors from I think it's Michigan and California, for 2028. So she was kind of listen, this is yours if you want it. If not, I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't know. I think
Yeah.
you take it and see if you can make it happen or not.
Yeah, I think if she does win, it's dang, they pulled it off. I think most Democrats, a lot of the youth is going to be very happy. If she doesn't win, I don't want anybody to actually be upset because it's like there was nothing she could really do. This is a
No,
very uphill battle for her entering
it's
at
on Biden at that
this
point.
late.
Whoever
Yeah,
enabled Biden with the Democrats.
truly.
I'm I mean, it seems like she's polling better now. She did just get announced, so like they're obviously just going to be a poll bump to begin with. Because I mean, I think we were both before this. We're kind of like Kamala's not really it. Like people don't like her, but I guess when it's like old ass Biden, then you have against Trump. It's like, all right, I guess Kamala's not that bad. You know, she's kind of
I was,
got some youth in her. She can do some stuff.
I was gonna say the same way it was not too much on Obama. We weren't gonna speak bad on a black man. We're gonna give Kamala the same respect while she's running. The problem with that is like would not have been my first choice.
No, I think I mean, and that's the thing that sucks. Like, if you could have had an open primary, like way back, if Biden had said he wasn't going to run, I mean, then it's kind of like a how do you not pick the vice president? Like, if she's going to be vice president, how can she not in theory be
Yeah,
president? But like, some people just don't like her. I don't know. Like, we could have seen what happens. But hey, it's her game now. Ball's in her court. What are you going to do with it?
it isn't her court.
I mean, I think if she's smart, she just like really runs on abortion. I mean, how do you tell like a minority woman of all things, like how can you when she's like I'm pro-abortion, you're just gonna be like no, like that just run on that because it's been working for all other states super high. Like people are, it's like polling at like 70% popularity. Like people are pro-abortion in some fashion or another. So run on that and make Trump like be the guy who got rid of Roe vs. Wade. You know, like.
You could you could pitch it that way, which I'm sure it'll produce some success.
I saw that. Want to get your opinion on this. I mean, it seemed like Trump was initially down to debate her, and then kind of like rolled that back. Does that kind of make Trump look like a pussy? Like, you can't debate Kamala? Like,
I'm I don't know. For her sake, I'm happy she didn't debate him. And it's not because Trump is this great debater. It's just because you know the outlandish shit he was going to say.
crazy.
I wonder who in this camp made him decide like that's not. He was probably gonna look very. The problem was gonna be like I was gonna say he's gonna look like an asshole, but like that's like Trump fans, so they live for that. So I don't know why they would have rolled that back.
Yeah, it's kind of like. I mean, Trump just is. When he's debating, he's just in his own world. Like, no one can really hold with him. So it's kind of like, why would you not? Because like when she was running for the primaries back in like what 2020 or whatever, when Biden got elected, like she didn't. I mean, she had to drop out because she was getting destroyed on the debate stage. So it's like,
Yes, he
bro,
was.
set her up and just do your thing. So I don't know.
Yes, he was getting ate up.
Yeah. So it seems like you're not as enthused as the rest of some of the Democrats out there. There's big support. You know, white guys for Kamala's out there. They had big stuff in the black community. Like there's a lot of excitement, a lot of energy out there.
I'm cool with it in the same way I was like cool with Obama, first black president. She'll be the first black woman president. Um, I'm Democrat for sure, like 75-25. But that other 25, come on now. I don't think anybody is completely one party to begin with anyway, which is like the
Yeah.
bi-party system's got to go. Would not have been my first choice.
Just not your cup of
But
tea.
hey, if
Not
we
your
could have
cup of
thrown
tea.
Stacey on the ballot, she would have had my vote.
Oh, I feel like she like really kind of fell off a cliff. I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't tell you what she's done recently.
I think she's still doing something down in Georgia. I think it's some nonprofit joint last I heard, but that was a little bit bad.
Yeah. She served in the Georgia House of Representatives from 2007 to 17, serving as minority leader, and that was about it. She went to Yale. Shout out to her.
She went to Yale.
Yeah, Yale Law
Okay, cool,
School,
cool.
96 to 99. Damn, yeah, she did. She had a moment, and then she kind of fell off because I think they were at one point talking about her being like the VP at one point.
Yeah, they thought that was who Biden was going to pick.
Mm-mm-mm. Well, yeah, I was like, damn, we're not gonna record and the one like massive thing happens last week. Like, oh fucking course. All right. Let's get back to regularly scheduled program stuff. What in life do you think you're owed? Does it change by the person or relationship type that you have?
This was a question of the day. Got a ton of feedback on this. I was listening to Mark narrations on my drive to work one morning,
Shout
and
out.
it was somebody talking about something of similar degree. To me, when I really boil it down, I think the only two things I'm owed, two things I'm owed. I don't think I think I'm owed to not be disrespected by anyone, which is different than not owed respect. Because when you say you're owed
Mm,
to be respected, that's like wrong. Nobody has to respect you. Nobody has to actually like care about you. Blah blah blah. That's something you got to earn with some people. I get that, but I think I am owed to not be disrespected. Because in my day to day life, I'm not doing anything that warrants being disrespected. And then I think I am owed unconditional love from my parents, since like
mm.
that's probably one of the only forms of unconditional loves out. And then I would say potentially spouse and close friends, which gets dicey because that transfers that barrier of what like a lot of people think unconditional love can be. I'm saying spouse because if you one day have kids, no matter what you go through, which I don't expect to go through anything crazy, if kids are involved and you're still like a stand up guy there for your kids, I think that unconditional love they have for their kids then spews over to you regardless, long as you like stand by their kids. And then closest friends, unless you got like some scums in your friend group or like trying to date your girl or this, that, and the third, I think your friends you could probably grow unconditional love for. Like, no matter what he go through, that's gonna still be my boy. I got niggas I play ball with who I'm cool with to this day. Like, they are in jail. What they're in jail for
Mm.
do not matter to me. Those are still my boys. Like, if you told me some of my niggas like was in jail, they was in the pen because they beat a murder charge, lost a murder charge or whatever, I'd be like, damn, that's my boys still. I
Are you
see
gonna
why niggas. I
rock the
see.
T-shirt? Free them.
I see how niggas be in the courtroom when like their daughter was killed and like the nigga family still be sitting on his side, like, yeah, that's still their boy. So I just think those are the two. I think owed not to be disrespected and the unconditional love from parents for sure, and then potentially spouse and closest friends.
I like the disrespect or not to be disrespected because my mind immediately went to like respect, but the way you explained it makes a lot more sense because I don't think anybody in theory owes you any respect, but they shouldn't be disrespecting you unless,
Yeah.
whatever happens. The unconditional love is a little unconditional is hard. That's a hard that's there's no conditions.
At least the parents. The parents should absolutely unconditionally love you, unless you're like a shitty person. Because
I was
even
gonna
once you
say.
think about it, even bad parents, parents who like struggle with addiction, parents who like have like who aren't mentally stable, they still love their kids. They're fighting their own demons and don't always know how to show it. Even some of them have like lose their kids and stuff. They're always talking about like, when I get my kid back, I'm getting my kid back. It might be a lie. They might be choosing the drugs over the kid every time, but I don't know if they don't love that kid somewhere deep down.
Yeah, I think you can get me on the parents. I don't know if you can get me on the spouses and close friends. I think that's going to be a conditional love, but I think it could probably be on a way higher level than
Yeah.
like friends or like like associates and kind of stuff.
What about spouse? If y'all are blemish free,
I mean, if you're blemish free, I mean, I still think I still believe in it. There could be conditions, like something could
yes, it is
happen,
still
and it could,
conditional because
yeah, like
under the
things
wrong
could
condition,
happen.
I can stop. You know, you might have talked me out of conditional outside of parents.
I think you could get for spouses, you could do stuff like I think you could be owed like openness or quality time, like stuff like that. Cause like if you're not getting that, like what are we doing here? Like, if I can't be very open and honest with you, it's kind of like, what are we like? This isn't it.
I thought about that. Somebody said that they were owed their love language, and
I don't like the way that sounds.
I wasn't mad at that, but I was her love language was acts of service. I wasn't
Mm,
mad at it, but I was like, that's gonna get dicey though, because then you're saying that you're owed for somebody to like conform to what you like. At some point, I think compromise would have had to have set in. So I don't know if you're owed your love language in life. It'd be nice to
you,
have, but owed seems a little far.
yeah, I was gonna say as soon as you said owed love language, I was like, who the fuck do you think you are saying
Yeah,
you're owed anything?
that felt like it
I
was like
do.
right over the line.
Yeah. I feel like you might be owed compromise though. I think if you're gonna have a good relationship, you might be need that might need to be one.
That probably is true. You're probably owed compromise within your relationship, but you're also probably I guess it would only be your relationships because I guess you're not owed compromise in any other like setting really because nigga get the fuck
No.
on. Yeah,
Do you think you could be like, I don't know what relationship, like I guess it would have to be probably your personal relationship, like owed like a secrecy thing or like don't badmouth me, like keep things in the family kind of thing. Is that too much of a stretch?
that's probably a little bit of a stretch for me. Yeah, it's probably a stretch for me.
Because I feel
Do you
like I
think
wouldn't
you're
want to be
owed?
badmouthed in my relationship. So I'd be like, don't talk bad about me outside the walls of this household. Like we keep
Yeah,
things
but that
inside.
that is dicey because some people view that as like manipulation
Mm.
because they're like, oh, Eric doesn't even let his girl talk about their problems to anybody. She doesn't have any outlets.
Listen, you could talk to a therapist. I think that's like HIPAA in some aspects.
Do you think parent to child you're owed anything? Because we said child to parent, like as a child you're owed like unconditional love. As a parent to your child, I would still say like, nah, your child probably doesn't have to unconditionally love you
So
because
it's
they're
really a
kids.
one-way
There's probably
street.
like mad conditions on that.
Damn. Yeah, that kind of sucks, huh? Parents, it's really one-sided.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not like we can say they gotta respect you because they're not owed to respect you either. The same like not to disrespect me probably falls there, but like that might be it. Parent to child.
Damn, parenting does not sound good, huh?
I was because yeah, you can't even say like honesty because like they're kids. Like they're gonna lie.
It's more like a privilege if you have a good relationship with your kids and they're
Yeah,
honest with you. Mm-mm-mm.
I thought about
Fuck parenting.
honesty because a couple of people said that, but and when he was reading the comments of that post, people were kind of like tearing down honesty. Like no matter who it is to you, sibling, parent, spouse, they don't actually owe you honesty, and there is like a level of something that they're allowed to like have to themselves. So like if somebody wants to bear their own burden, they don't necessarily owe sharing that with you. It'd be nice of them to, but
Hmm.
like owed it gets dicey.
Yeah. Ode is just so strong. To put that on the things, it's like, whoa. Let's dial it back just a little bit.
I would like to think as siblings, you're like owed, you owe each other having each other's backs, but I don't even think that's like a given.
Definitely not. In most, I would say most relationships, probably not. I feel like it's super conditional. That's crazy.
No, it
And all
truly
these
is.
siblings and people still beef, people still have all these issues. And it's like, bro, it's your family. What are we doing?
No, it's facts.
That was a good one. Good topic.
Yeah, shout out Reddit.
Shout Reddit. Ooh, all the gems. Some people fail to realize forgiveness doesn't mean things are going to go back to normal. Sometimes forgiveness is granted, but shit will never be the same. I think that's so true. People always like, I think if someone fucks up, they're always trying to like move past it and be like, oh, like just forgive me, we're all good, and like people can forgive you, but you're not gonna forget like XYZ what happened to you. Like it's still gonna be there, and it definitely will alter your relationship depending on how bad it could have been.
Yeah, like we're not all good. And I feel like that's part of what comes with it. Like, I apologize. You accept my apology so we can be good. It's like, nigga, what? I'll accept your apology, but nobody said being good come with this. Um,
Yeah.
the Reddit story. So I'm gonna try to dumb it down. It was actually a great one. A lot of tears, not tears. They ended up getting the perspective of the writer who was the daughter, the stepdad, and the dad. So
Mm.
lot of comments. Pretty much what happened was it was a girl getting married. Her stepdad had like stepped in for her dad who left her at like 5 and raised her his
Mhm.
whole life. She had her first breakup in like middle school, high school, and it was her stepdad who like told her like this guy's not good enough. One day men are gonna value it, this, that, and the third. He was the one who took her to like the daddy daughter dance because like her dad not around. Her mom was struggling. He's the one who stepped in, took care of them financially, paid for her to go through school, was like there to like get her first car, all that like daddy daughter shit. She talks about how they
Mm.
had like a perfect relationship.
The
And I
dad
think
who
the thing
stepped
that,
up.
yeah, and the thing that made it interesting is like she was writing this story with remorse that like she fucked up and now she realized she fucked up. So
Mm.
fast forward, her dad comes back around like about a year before. It was right when she got engaged, so like a year before she gets married. Fucking they're starting to build a relationship. They're going to joint therapy, trying to work on their issues. He wants to be involved. Her mom is kind of The stepdad is like, that's your dad. Like, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. Long story short, when it gets to time to walk her down the aisle, she chooses her biological father, which is tough because he wasn't there your whole life. This other nigga stepped up for not only you but your mom. Was there for all of
Oh.
those moments. But that was strike one, really. Um, During the toast, she chose her mom, her bridesmaid, her dad, and then some of the groomspeople. Because she was like,
Uh,
well, if my mom's giving a toast, that could be for like both of them. And then the last straw was since like that's how bridal party works, her dad walked her down her aisle. Her mom's the mother of the bride. Her stepdad isn't in any of the wedding pictures.
ooh,
So,
brother.
um, and then after the wedding, like she didn't think anything of it. After the wedding, like a week goes by, she's like texting her stepdad, asking some questions. He's answering but short. He texted again. She's answering but short. He texted her. He called her. She calls him, and he was like, "I can't do this right now. And I actually don't believe you have like the audacity to do this." And he was like, "I need some time." And she didn't know what was going on. And then her fiance was like, "Every step of the way, I asked you, like, is this really what you want to do? Like, putting your dad over your stepdad, putting your dad over your stepdad, putting your dad over your stepdad." And she was like, in the moment, she was just trying to like fast track a relationship with her dad. So she didn't really think about it. But she was like, at the end of the day, like, looking back at it and having him like point out everything that went wrong, her fiance and her mom, because she didn't talk to her for like a week or two. She was like, the dad walking you down the aisle, your dad giving a speech, your dad being in all the pictures, when your stepdad's the man who stepped up for you since you was 4 years old and have been around.
Oh.
Like, yeah. And in the comments were pretty much saying like, although she sees this and resents it and like wishes it didn't happen, they were all pretty much like, he can forgive you, but he'll never forget this. Like that relationship,
Mhm.
that daddy daughter relationship you ever had, is probably never gonna be the same after this because you really just like slapped him in the face and showed him like you was not that to me. Even if that wasn't your intention, on this many separate accounts, you doubled down and tripled down on like, yeah, you not him, you not him. And they were like, your best bet from here is to like hope that he's willing and receptive to being a grandfather to your children. Because they're like, anything that you thought you had is toast. And in the recap, he pretty much paints the picture as well and talks about how he was hurt. And long story short, he was like, I can forgive her, but this is something that I don't know if I can forget. And he was like, this is just how I feel. And then she was pretty much talking about how she's going to get with her therapist and try to figure out why she did that. But at the end of the day, all of that is to say there are certain things that can happen where it's like, yeah, like I see where you were coming from. I actually, because I can see where she was coming from, what she thought. But in my eyes, there's still a right and wrong. In her stepdad's eyes, there's still a right and wrong. I can forgive you for that headspace you were in, but it's never gonna be the same.
Bro, that one hurt me hearing it.
Yeah, I was
Like,
like, jeez.
ooh, I just, I mean, I guess we'll never know because, like, when you're doing the wedding process, there's a lot that's going on. There's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah,
But like, I guess the fiance tried. I
he
think I
did.
might have been, I might have been a little more
He tried, and
forceful
then
with it.
he tried, and then in his comment on a post, he stated that him and the mom were asked by the stepdad not to mention anything of it because he was like, at the end of the day, I don't want this to be a point of contention. It's her wedding, it's her day. But I think they said he pretty much said the fiance that leading up to it, he thought he was gonna be okay with it and like it's a shitty situation, but like these are the cards that was dealt. But seeing him at the wedding is when it kind of like set in that like, nah,
Yeah, because I think like that. I think you can think like, all right, you know what, this sucks, but like I understand. But then like if it's the one, in most in theory, people, it's the one wedding, it's the
yeah,
one chance to do this, and then you're sitting there like sitting on the sidelines, and you're like, this guy popped up a year ago, like
yeah, and like
that's some
this to him is his daughter, his only daughter. So like,
yeah,
yeah, and that's what it comes down to. Like he viewed her as a daughter, and in those moments, at least, she did not view him as her father. And I
that's
don't think it
ooh.
gets any more clear than that. Like you chose a deadbeat over me, a nigga who's been around for a year. We can never be like it'll never be the same because I can't forget that.
I think again, I think this is a situation where if I was in the fiance's shoes, like, listen, I can understand if you want to keep things in the low and stuff. I think I would have had a more direct conversation and not like a do you think. I'd have been like, let's take two steps back. How
Yeah,
do you think your stepfather would feel when this happens, when he's the one that's been raising this whole time? Like,
and
and
that's
then if she
kind of
still
what.
feels that way, it is what it is. But I'm gonna make sure, like, respectfully, I don't like. Sometimes you gotta take care of your house and
Yeah,
have a conversation behind closed doors.
and that's what I kind of thought from some of the comments because they were like, you had multiple different opportunities. Like, if he's the one walking you down the aisle, you're biological. Give the speech to your stepdad. Like, you had options to make partial part of this right.
Yeah.
It just at every turn. And I don't know what they were doing in therapy where she didn't want her dad to feel disrespected and like he was being replaced. In the comments, like one of them really ripped her a new one because they was like, at the end of the day, like he has been replaced. This nigga's been gone for 20
Oh.
something years. You think this nigga was thinking about you when somebody else was raising you?
Mm-mm.
Mm,
Damn.
yeah.
Yeah, that I don't know if there's a better example of like I can accept your apology, but like you're not gonna be forgiven. Or I guess like you could be in quote forgiven, but like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna forget.
Shit'll never be the same. And I think that's what I'm saying. Like I think people just don't there are certain things you do where it's like you do have to give somebody forgiveness, forgiveness at some point. You can't just walk around with that on your heart or on your mind forever, or even on the back burner. But like, I just wish these niggas you forgive fully understood that, like, yo, you cannot come around no more. Like, you're forgiven, but like, we is not cool. We're not cool. We not good. We can't joke with each other no more. Like, whatever you did was past the point of return.
All I know is that dad better not disappear out of her life again.
Bruh.
Don't let him fall off because like you know what they say, man. When it comes to weddings, all those photos, like if
Yeah.
you're doing video, but photos of it, like that's what you're gonna have as those memories. So if you have people in your life who then suddenly dip out or dip in and dip out, and if you don't like, you can't have them as front and center if they're not gonna be there for the long term because you don't want to be looking back 10, 15, 20 years down later like this fucking asshole's in my photos. I hate this guy.
No, truly. Like, what the hell? Randoms in the picture. No way.
That's that's I feel for that stepdad.
Yeah, now that one I was like, damn. There's a few of them I'm like, damn, this sucks. But yeah, that's a rough one because like the man,
Mm-mm.
he was really the man who stepped up, and what happened?
Got stepped on.
I don't know how people do that. I truly struggle with that because I know a couple people who got step parents and are in similar situations and they do shit like that, and I'm like, what are you running to? What story is this person selling you? This is why I wasn't able to be present for the last 10, 15 years. Like, they gotta have a real airtight story for me to even start to believe that shit. Like, you didn't call, you didn't send mail, you didn't email me. The ways we have of reaching somebody now, and you was able to find me now, but in
Mm.
10, 15 years, I didn't hear from you. What are you selling people to like buy that and believe it?
I feel like people go for like whatever the other parent, like, oh, your parent didn't want me in your life when I was younger, so I had to wait until years, whatever, whatever. I don't buy that still. I think
Hell no.
I think you got to be in your kid's life in
About to
some
drop them
capacity.
assistance. Like, go get some form of custody. Go get supervised visitation. Go
Yeah.
get every other week. There's something you could have done in 20 years to show me that you cared.
Yeah.
She a grown woman, went to college, got engaged, got married. You didn't in those 4 or 5 years, you didn't reach out. Fell for the oldest trick in the book, shorty.
Justice for the stepdad.
Big justice for the stepdad. The mom, she said her mom was even more upset with her. She said the mom didn't want to take the pictures. She
Mm.
didn't want to talk to her. Her stepdad met up with her to like get coffee and talk it out in person. Her stepmom's not inviting her to not her stepmom. Her mom's not inviting her to the house. And I was like, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna
Damn.
lie. If this is my spouse, the person that has like I've been married to the last 15, 20 years, and they stepped up for you in ways nobody else could, they held us both down, and I had to stand by and watch you do them like this, I'd probably be hurt too. I'd be ashamed.
Just have them both walk you down the aisle. Let them give speeches like you said, the mom and dad, like just let your mom and stepdad give a combo speech of some sort. Like,
There were way too many like obvious options he had where it was almost like you purposefully cut him out. Like, you took away from his moment to make sure your biological dad had his moment, which is strange for a nigga who was only around for a year.
the photos too, it's like, I mean, we're talking for our photographer, like they're like, hey, give us a list of, people you want to get these photos with because photos take forever. You want to get like you couldn't just throw your stepdad and mom into a photo,
No, truly.
come on, man. Nah, she got to take responsibility.
She
That's I
does.
don't she says she got therapy, whatever. Listen, there you got to just be an adult and use your brain a little bit.
Oh yeah, like, and I know the prop. I feel like somewhere along the road, that therapist is like rationalizing this decision, like it wasn't the worst thing ever.
Mm-mm.
And it's like, no, like, shorty, you fucked up. Like, own it.
God, we need a real therapist. Tell you how it really is.
They won't let me back in the office.
All right. Does anyone else only work a half day the day before their PTO?
Oh yeah, I'm taking PTO Thursday, Friday. I'm only going into work. It's storming bad out here. I'm only going into work like when I go in regularly, so at like 5 on Wednesday until about 7, and then I'm hitting the road. Like, they will get no nothing from me. I don't give a fuck.
All right, hold on. Is your job still where you're working in the office and then remote? What is the deal?
Nah, like, I'm in office.
So you're only going to be there from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
and then
I'm
you're
gonna
just
hit the road.
leaving?
Yeah, but I'm only using PTO for like fucking Thursday, Friday. Cause one, at the end of the day, like, I'm the GM. Like, I don't really got. I got a direct report, but that nigga not really my boss. I do not give a fuck about what he gotta say. One, like, when I leave is when I
Mm,
leave, and then two, um, North Carolina state law, like, salaried employees, any any work is work. So if I drive to the office and work 2 hours, yeah, nigga, I worked. You're gonna pay me, and I'm gonna stand by that letter of the law.
damn. Um, Before PTO, it's a toss up for me sometimes with work. Like we have ebbs and flows of when we're busy. Like we're kind of
Mhm.
transitioning into different stuff right now, so it's a little chiller. So like I think I took a half day on Friday, and I was pretty knocked out myself in the morning, was chilling. But there's some days where I'm like, I got so much shit to get done before PTO, and I'm like, I can't even. So
Than the rough ones.
yeah, it kind of depends on the work, but I feel like yeah, especially like PTO is one thing. I think around the holidays, that's when everybody just starts dwindling down. If it's like the Thursday, and Christmas Eve is
Yeah.
Friday or New Year's, like all that shit, just people start checking out.
If I'm still here around the holidays, oh my gosh, it'll be a sad day. But if I am still here around the holidays, these niggas will not see me. The way I will deviously use this PTO slash holiday type, oh yeah, they're fucked.
I was gonna say, I was looking at this because we were talking about like we have so much shit on like all these upcoming weekends. So I was looking at stuff for like September and like stuff we got for your bachelor party, and then like Thanksgiving, December, and I was like, yo, the way I'm probably gonna take like only probably use like 4 or 5 vacation days, and I'll be off for like 2 weeks in December. It's gonna be incredible.
Bro, September through like December is like a gauntlet of events for me. It's crazy. With the
Fuck, and we have
bachelor
your
party,
wedding that day.
we got two weddings in October. We got a fucking birthday party for one of Mariah's friends up in PA. We got a Halloween party in Virginia. Then the wedding stuff. It's like, God dog, it's about to get hectic.
Bro, you guys doing Halloween party like? Are you doing it the weekend before Thanksgiving? Because or Halloween? Halloween's on a Thursday this year. Are you doing like the 26th?
Mm,
Because I feel like you're not doing it on the second because you got the wedding next week.
oh shit, I didn't even realize that. I think it's gonna have to be the 22nd, 26th. I'll have to get with the shorty who's throwing it because she's doing it in the Berg. We are not hosting it again this year. It's been 2 years. We're ready to pass that torch.
Breaking tables, breaking chairs, dude. Jesus. Uh, yeah. Jesus. All right.
Man, this
Before we get into our next topic, we wanted to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this week's episode, Zencastr. When we first started recording PorchTlk, we were using whatever rinky-dink setup we could, but we realized we needed to step our game up to a legit setup, and that's where Zencastr came in. It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log into your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guest. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. Trust me, I know. If you have thought about podcasting before and realized that you need a lot of different tools and services, those days are over. With Zencastr's all-in-one podcasting platform, you can create your podcast all in one place and distribute it to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code PorchTlk and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same easy experience we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story, and honestly, they have a free plan too if you need it. It's just as good. Shout out to Zencastr, and let's get back to the episode. Yeah. Let's get into the top 5 things. Oh, I don't have this updated here. It's the top 5 things you'd sacrifice at work for a 32-hour work week.
Top five things I would sacrifice at work, and this is realistic. No bullshit like extra work or a smaller workload. That's come on. One, I would give up lunch break. If they told me I'd have a 32-hour work week, and that's what fucking 6 hour days, five sixes, five six and a halves. I don't even give a fuck. Whatever it is, 8 4s, fuck it.
Yeah, I think
Um,
A4s.
4 8s,
4/8, 4/8, yeah, 4/8.
whatever it is to get to that 32 hours, I would give up a lunch break. I would work for you straight to get 32 hours if that meant no lunch break. That's one. Two, I would take worse shifts. I would take the
Mm.
like 5 to noon. I would take the fucking like 5 a.m. to noon, or I would take on the opposite end of the shitty shifts. I would do like a 12 to 6:30, 12 to 6, if that meant that I was going to get a 32-hour work week. That's two. Three, I would be 100% in person. Because I know the complaint is, well, if we're
Mm.
gonna give them 32-hour weeks, we got to be on the monitor. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. But I would do it completely in person. I would give up remote work for a 32-hour week. 4, I would. I'm a big office guy. I can't do cubicles. I don't want niggas around me while I'm working, like shit like that. I would go back to a cubicle. You could give me like the workspace of an elementary kid desk, and I would make it work for a 32-hour work week. And
Not
then
a little
lastly, I
desk.
would submit to my work being monitored to make sure I was being productive.
Wow.
You'd probably get about 32 real hours of work out of me.
That's yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Well, when I started this one, I definitely picked all the bullshit ones. Things I would sacrifice: free coffee. I don't even drink coffee, but I would sacrifice it for everybody
Oh
if
my
I was
gosh.
working in an office. This one I actually thought I was gonna be unique on, but I was kind of agree. I said my hour lunch break because honestly, like especially working from home, I just kind of eat while I'm working anyway,
Hmm.
and I never really understood needing an hour lunch break.
Bro, that hour lunch break is so stupid.
Unless you are like driving out to like get food and you gotta wait and come back, like then I guess you need it. But then you're still not eating it. You're just going to get it and come back.
See the people who like use their hour lunch break to like go home and let their dogs out, and it's like a 20-minute drive, let your dogs out for 10, 20-minute drive, and then you like stuff your face for 6 minutes. I was like, that feels like work.
The worst was when like I would be in training for stuff and they'd be like, "All right, you guys have an hour lunch break," and I'm like, "Bro, I'm gonna eat like a sandwich and chips and be done in 5 minutes. Like, can we just work through this so I can be done training? Like, what are we doing here?" This used to happen at a job I had. When they buy you food because there's a lot of work that needs to be done, I'll just give up that food. I don't need the
Absolutely.
food.
Absolutely
Number
give the food up.
number 4, just free snacks in general. I'll take all the snacks away from people. No one needs to eat because we're working less hours. Last one, any like work perks, technology discounts you get through the company. They're like, here's like 10% off your phone bill. I don't need that. Just give me less work.
Damn. The food just one hit me after that, but quick on the food. When I was in Cleveland, the job I was working at, we were selling cars. Fucking, instead of our bonuses, they would like get the whole office lunch, and I was like, "Fuck no!" I
Nope.
said, "Nigga, I
Nope.
work for this bonus. I don't." First off, everybody in here didn't get this bonus. Second off, like, what the fuck? Like, pay me. I will gladly get paid over this $8 lunch you got me today.
Bro, they used to be like, "Oh, we gonna need people to work overtime. We got a lot of stuff to get done." And they'd be like, "Hey, Friday, good job for working so many hours. Here's some free pizza." And I'm like, "What do you mean? I don't give a fuck about
Yeah,
this."
hell no, get that shit out my face. Um, honorable mention. I would take a lesser benefit package, whether it's
Oh,
less health insurance, less percentage to the retirement plan. For 32 hours, I would make it work. I'd take a lesser benefit package.
interesting. I would give up Columbus Day.
Mm.
Honorable mention.
Oh,
I'll give up Juneteenth. I
would you
said
get?
it.
Would
Half the people don't have it anyway.
you give up all holidays for a 32-hour work week? Because think of it, you're gonna make up more on the back end, but you do not get. Would you give up your PTO for a 32-hour work week? Whatever it is, whether it's 30
No,
days, 20 days, because you're
no.
gonna get 40 something extra days with a 32-hour work week.
Yeah, but then think about 48 days, and then you have PTO, so you have to use less PTO days to have longer vacations.
Yeah, we're getting greedy. You gotta work Christmas Day, you gotta work New Year's, but you got a
Mm-mm.
32-hour work week through the year.
I did think about trying like, is there a couple of holidays I would give up, like actual holidays? But I was like, it's a little dicey because what if you have like, let's say you do the 4/8, right?
Hmm.
Christmas is on a Friday, so then you would have that Thursday off because it's floating. Saying only in 3 days, I'm like, man, that's even better. Like we could really be doing something here.
For 32-hour work week, I would give up every holiday as well as work Super Bowl Sunday.
No.
You would just make too much. You would make way too much up. I'm here for the additional days off.
The one thing, side tangent about them trying to expand the season an extra week would be that the Super Bowl would fall on President's Day, which would be elite. They needed to make that happen.
That's huge. It would be huge if we didn't just give that up.
Is there a certain amount of hours that you would commute to work? Because we're talking about we're getting to logistics of like you're gaining hours, but how far out are you willing to drive? Also,
But 32 hours. It depends on how
Mhm.
they're doing it. If it's 32 hours, which is meaning they're gonna just give us 4 8s,
Four
that
eights,
would be
four
different than
eights,
I have to go into work 5 days a week. So if
no
it's
four
five
eights.
days to make the 32, if it's 4 8s, I'll drive an hour and a half both ways. 3 hour commute because I was already doing 45 minutes one way, so I was already an hour and a half commute total, and I was working like 80 hours over there. So for 32, I'll drive an hour and a half both ways.
Just so that's what 6 hours of commute time.
Real.
So you're only really gaining 2 hours.
Mm-mm.
Well, no,
I'm
I guess
getting
it
that
would
whole
gain
day.
in the whole day in theory. So you're getting 8, but then you're adding on a longer commute. I don't know, like it's a
It's
little
about an 11
dicey.
hour day. 12 hours if you're counting the time you get ready, which I'm not too mad at because I'll push harder those 4 days I'm there to have the three. If they told me right now and I could work 40 hours, I'd make it. If I see those jobs where it's like pick your schedule as long as it gets work, if you told me all I had to do was work 40 hours, nigga, I would work fucking Tuesday and Wednesday, and that'd be the only days they saw me. My shit
What?
would get done. Nigga, I would work from like 2 a.m. to midnight both days, and I would smoke that shit.
Oh my god, that'd be so funny. Just like you have one employee who's just working 20 hours back to back days. It's insane.
Yeah, they'd stand no chance, man.
I would love for you to get a job that says you could work your own hours and then you try that and they're like, all right, we didn't mean literally 20 hours back to back days, dude.
That's what I was gonna say. The problem with that is they be having the mandatory meetings and bullshit like that, so they're gonna get you in there 5 days still.
It's so good.
Mm.
Um, real ones only. You got some haircut debacles, and job
And
nonsense
I hit
going
my
on.
barber and I hit him up to see when I can get a cut. You know how it be. Um, he was too busy tomorrow, which I get it. His kid's birthday. And then I hit him another time, and he was like, "I'm gonna be gone before then." And then I hit him a time today, and he's like, "Nah, I got something to do at 11." I was like, "Nigga, it's Monday, Tuesday. When the work hours start?" So did get in there at like 9:45 today. Got a cut. Definitely went on the job because I do not give a fuck about this job. Went out, got the cut, got some lunch, came back. Shit was still exactly where I left it.
I mean, I feel like as a GM, there's just less stuff you have to like. At a certain
Oh yeah,
point, I feel like you just have underlings who just handle things.
yeah. There's like not too much, or like not many people to answer to.
Mm-mm-mm.
Um, fucking job, still doing nothing, still getting paid to absolutely do nothing. The
Isn't that the
boss
dream?
manager style is comical. Um, but I think something dark is coming. I'm a aggressive type of guy. I want promotions, I want pay raises, things of that nature. Pretty
Hmm.
money motivated. Did have a talk with the chaplain the other day, but that's a story for another day.
What?
Um, I
Talking to
think what's
Chaplin.
oh yeah, he popped up to the job and I was like, I'll talk to you. I thought it was gonna be whack. It wasn't. It was pretty solid. Um,
Hmm.
what I initially thought, I was like, damn, I'm gonna get like stuck here because they're not gonna see me as an asset. So I'm gonna be doing a regular job. It's gonna be hard to get promotions. Like in my last job, 3 months in, they was talking about like if I could see myself promoting, and I was promoted at
Mm.
7 months. So that was not gonna be the case here. And I was like, you know what? It is what it is. Not everything's supposed to be fast. Eventually, it'll pick up, and I'll make this work. That's not what I think is actually happening. What I think is
Mm.
going to happen is I think we're getting closer and closer to my job being replaced. I
Oh,
think they're going to circumvent my position And here's why: the dude that I was supposed to take his replacement, I was supposed to replace him. He was going to get promoted to regional manager and relocate. He refuses to relocate.
Huh.
They told me all that I would be in charge of when I got there and whatnot. He first step was him relocating. He didn't do that, so he's staying in the same building as me, which is whatever. Like you do your shit on your side, I'll do my shit down here. And then it got blurry because the old employees who used to report to him didn't know who they were supposed to report to. Cause it's like this been my
Mm.
boss for a year and like he's still here. Like, what's up? And I told him I was like, nah, like I'm him now. Like, if you got a problem, come in here. Um, he just kept putting himself in the positions to like anytime anybody was in my office, he also came in there. So he was like trying to be involved in everything. He hasn't really passed me anything. And then I got to be in there at 5 on Mondays. I usually go in at 5:30, but it's because there's a few shit that's got to be done since nobody's there doing the weekend to get started. So I get there at 5 and all of it is already done. And that's just more of his micromanaging. And some people be like, damn, like he did your shit for you. And it's like, no, because like I could have stayed in bed about 45 minutes longer. I wouldn't have been irritated that I've got nothing to do here at 5 o'clock in the morning. And like, nigga, I need to do my work so it shows I'm competent in my work. I don't want you like
Yeah.
doing my work for me. So that already irritated me. And then I was going through my emails at like 7:30. We've got like 23 people in the building that were all supposed to report to me. I got an email, and he's over 4 locations: Charlotte, Columbia, Greensboro, and now Charleston. I got an email this morning that said, we're going to take the routing and ops coordinator positions and make that a location on its own. And those people are all going to report to him still. And that'll be his fifth location. That's 17 people. So
Huh.
my job is now getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And what I think the problem is, he's not letting me do anything. He's still doing all of this. What's going to happen is I'm gonna be a casualty of bad business because it's not longevity. He can't do that shit. It's gonna wear him out eventually. But I'm gonna be a
Yeah.
casualty of bad business on his part because as like a VP looking in, it doesn't make sense to pay me what they pay me for me to actually not do shit. Because when they look
Yeah.
at the breakdown of like who reports to who does what, the shit that I actually can like do now is like 1/10 of what they hired before, with him taking all of those people and that like still being his direct. The moment I saw that email, I told because I was on the phone with Mariah. I told Mariah, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, they've got an exit plan for me. So my
Hmm.
exit plan just has to be faster than theirs. Because once I saw that shit and I was like, huh, all of those people are still gonna report to you. And when they hired me, like week 1, he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna try to find a way for the routers and the ops coordinators to still be my direct reports because I built a rapport with them." And when he said that shit, the director of like that district for us, I think they call him like director of commerce or whatever. He was like, "Nah, like we're gonna let Ezra handle that because we've got other stuff for you." But he's real cool with like the head of operations and the VP, so I guess they probably went over Vinny's head, who's the director, because it was like a 4 or 5 week fight because the director of that joint would be sending me information and like, yo, can you check on this? And then Jason would reply to the emails. My boss would like, no, these are still my reports, this, that, and the third. So I was in like a awkward middle point, and we were on a call one day, and he had said something, and I was like, well, I don't know anything about that because Jason told me those are still his reports. And Vinny was like, huh, I'll get with some people so we can iron this out. I guess the ironing out didn't go the way he thought. And like I told her, I was like, I don't like the job anyway, so I'm not tripping. But I do know that like I'm not stupid. You're not gonna pay me as much as you pay me to do 1/10 of what you hired me to do. And him like finalizing getting them to still report to him, that cuts my like I barely have a job now. Like I don't really do shit.
I don't get why when you would get promoted, you're still trying to do your old job.
I don't understand that either. And it's like I told him when I first like the first week I talked to him, I was like, yo, I know you've got your ways of doing things. I've got mine. I was like, I know what I'm doing. Like I kind of ran it up in the same industry. The only difference was we moved furniture, not appliances. My resume speaks for itself if you need to look at it. You can pass some of those tasks on to me and I'll handle it. And the things that I don't know when they arise, like that are specific to appliances, I'll reach out to you for help, or I'll reach out to one of the other GMs on teams for help on it. And Buddy told me it's gonna probably take 6 weeks, 6 months for him to like pass this over. And I was like, what the fuck? And then the director of HR was like, how was the onboarding? And I was like, Shorty, there was no onboarding. She was like, what do you mean? I was like, I sat in my office for 2 weeks. I didn't even have an office when I got there. I was like, I sat in the break room for 2 weeks doing nothing. Like I was on TikTok for 2 weeks. I wasn't learning shit. I wasn't doing I was dead ass doing nothing. And she was like, your office wasn't ready? And I was like, what office were you told I was supposed to have? And then she was like, you're supposed to get the GM office. I was like, so Jason's office? She was like, yeah. I said, Jason's not leaving. So he's not leaving his office. And she was like, oh, so we've got to find the next plant. And I was like, did nobody here? I was like, did nobody here know that Jason's not leaving? I was like, I've been in a break room doing nothing for 2 weeks, like, and nobody's asked. So when she asked about the onboarding shit, and I was like, yeah, like there has not been onboarding. There was no process. There was no structure. Like I was literally coming to work at 5, and by 6:37, I was sitting in an office for like 6, 7 hours.
That's
And it's all because he don't want to like let none of this shit go. Which is, I I was talking to Mama B earlier, and I was like, at the end of the day, you don't know what you don't know. I do know. I told him, I was like, bro, I came from regional manager. He told me what he make. I made more than him as regional manager at home. So I was like, bro, I came from this. I know what you're doing. I have just as many sites as you. I actually had more than him until this little fifth bullshit site, which is just people. And I was like, what helped me was having good managers, like the good GMs, the good operations managers. I was like, I had to go to Atlanta every other week for like 3 months. I didn't want to do that shit. It's because they didn't have a good GM in place. Like, you do not want that to be your life. But he was like, I'm a company man. I don't mind the driving. And I was like, nigga, this sounds cool. You gonna burn out in like 3, 4 months, big dog. And when I'm gone, it's gonna be like, damn, you did not want to pass anything over to me. But yeah, they're absolutely the way this is looking. I'm not stupid. They're absolutely gonna get rid of the GM here. It just doesn't make sense to have a GM if he's gonna stay on site and do as much as he is.
I mean, I would say the only benefit is I feel like you're always looking
Oh
for
yeah,
jobs.
bro. I've been looking since the week 1, week 2 is off. I started picking up like week 4 or 5, especially going into last week, because there was just so much. I seen a guy on TikTok. He was an HR guy, and he was talking about like 3 red flags. And he was like, if you get there and you don't have a set workspace, if it don't feel like there's any like onboarding procedure, and if you don't feel like you're a priority, and then he was like, the level of priority should get higher the higher you climb. And I was like, I'm the GM of a site at the time, in charge of this many employees, in charge of this much money going out every fucking day. And this nigga did not make me a priority. I literally sat in a break room for 2 weeks doing nothing. Like, it's like he didn't want to teach me nothing or show me anything. So he just like was like, yeah, go in there and like chill. And I was like, bro, this is like crazy. So ever since then, I knew this wasn't gonna work. I knew that at the end of day one, I told Mariah, I was like, nah, like this is the vibes are off because like getting they didn't have any plan. They told me 2 different times to show up, and then most people might not trip about it. It might be like, so whatever. But something about like I'm a kind of a chain of command guy. Being the nigga who's in charge of a whole location and showing up and not having an office or a workspace, that shit rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
I mean that, and then just everything else. It's like, yeah, you're very right. The writing is on the wall.
Yeah.
It's just about how much longer you have before they make the decisions they're gonna make. And with the rerouting shit, it's probably not long.
Oh, absolutely. Once I seen that email, and I seen that shit at like 7 o'clock. Once I seen that, all I could do was like laugh to myself because I was like, I knew this shit was coming. The moment he told, because he wasn't in on the interview that I got hired on. So the moment he told me a completely different plan than the niggas who hired me did, because he was supposed to be there for like a week and then leave, and I was like, oh, like when's the move? This, that, and the third. And he was like, no, I'm staying in Charlotte, and I was like, do they know this shit? And ever since then, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
That seems like a bigger disconnect because, like, if you have someone who's promoted and supposed to relocate, you would think that would be like in the move. Like, it wouldn't just
Yeah.
be like him being like, "Oh, I'm not leaving." It's like, wait, what?
No, that's literally what I thought because the warehouse manager who reports to me as well. He was like, when you gonna get settled into Jason's office or whatever? And that was like day 2. And I was like, he not leaving. And he was like, what you mean? I was like, yeah, he told me he would stay here. And he was like, he's very micromanaging, so I'm not surprised, but that's gonna make it hard for you to really do your job, knowing his personality. And he gave me like 20 minutes a game on why they don't get along really and a couple of things, and I was like, yep, I see it. And everything he said was pretty much right because like I really don't do anything.
Jason's gonna burn out. Can't wait to see it happen.
That's what I was like. I was like, bro, like, I'm telling you, believe what you want to believe. I also don't think he liked how young I was because when he first met me, he was like, oh, you're younger than I thought you were going to be. And he's mentioned that like 2 or 3 times because he's been doing logistics and he's in his like late 40s. And I was like, bro, I'm telling you, I'm good at this shit. I can show you how to do this shit because you're going about it wrong. But that's in my head. That's what I keep thinking. I'm like, bro, like, I just came from what you're doing. You are going to burn out doing this shit. You do not want like if you don't have to, you don't want to have to come check in on Charlotte, and you wouldn't have to. You do not want to live out of hotels. The times where I was going down to Atlanta every other week, spending 3, 4 days, and I was like, bro, you don't want to have to do that shit.
Does he have like a family?
He's got a fiance, and they're gonna get married this summer in August, and he
Mm.
might be pushing. He was just saying the other day that he might push his honeymoon because he's not comfortable leaving. The, he's over Columbia, Charlotte, and Greensboro. He's not comfortable leaving that yet. He's just too hands on. And I was like, yeah, that's a good way to keep your marriage strong, dumb nigga.
Oh my god, I don't understand people like that, man. Listen, my life is easier when I have people who are under me and like I'm doing their stuff. Like if I know I don't have to worry about it. Like I
Believe
don't
me,
want to sit here and micromanage and tell you how to do your job.
I'm the same way. I do not want to check on you. Like, just as long as the work done, I do not care. And it's like he did not give me or the nigga who started in Greensboro that option. It's very strange.
You might need to file a. You should. What you should do is file some with HR because you got to have it in writing. It's all about having that shit in writing.
I've been drafting an email. I got a meeting tomorrow actually to go over my first 45 days with him and the director, and they're gonna definitely get some opinions in that. And I'm gonna ask them a very straightforward questions that only got answers. Um, and I don't. I think she's gonna realize in that moment like what all he is still doing, and that needs to be a conversation for his bosses. Because when I was telling her that, she was like, "Yeah, we've got to get this rectified," and that was like 5 weeks ago. And I was like, "It's the exact same situation 6 weeks
Worse.
later, and I still don't have an office. Like, nigga came in last week, a different nigga came in for GE, and I had to get out of the office I was working in for him to have an office. So I just came home. I was like, I'm not gonna be the GM working in the break room. It's not gonna happen.
Jesus. God. Well, I'm excited for next week. We'll have another. Well, we'll definitely have to have a follow up about
Oh yeah,
your meetings and what happens.
I'm taking notes in this meeting.
Jesus. All right, let's wrap this up. Do some music and TV.
Music wise, I'm gonna say that that Bryson Tiller with the new genre, whatever she want, it's not good because it's Bryson, but yeah. And then PV, Joe Pickett is solid, but it's only got 2 seasons, so be ready.
What is this?
Joe Pickett, it's like a about a yeah,
It's like a western.
yeah, it's like about a game warden.
Hmm. Music wise, going with the Great American Bar Scene by Zach Bryant. TV wise, shout out Pushing Daisies. Shout out Pushing Daisies. If you know, you know. With that being said, we're going to wrap this podcast up. Thank you for listening. As always, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, PorchTlk No A. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review on Spotify. Share the podcast with a friend. You can watch on Instagram and Spotify. You can find us on all of your streaming platforms. If you're listening, you probably already know that. And I think that's it. We'll see you next week. Peace.